You know, I think what's wrong with a lot of the world today is that people are thought of as liabilities instead of assets, which completely changes the way how we live when we are always seen as problems versus solutions, where we're looked at from a lack perspective rather than value, where each individual is seen as valued, no matter their ethnicity, no matter their race, no matter their orientation, no matter their sexuality, no matter where they live, where they're from, they're yellow, blue, or purple, that they are valued. And that is the way that God sees us. That is the laws of the universe, the darkness that has been ruling this planet has inverted it into the dark matrix, what some would call, I don't think I want to say it because I don't want it to get flagged, but it's a node and it's a dark one that I've been posting about taking down. And I mean, you might be like, well, how does this actually play out in real life if we are viewed as liabilities rather than assets? Well, if you're always looked at as a liability, then you're always kind of taking the I'm not enough by myself at face value. So if you're impoverished in the way that the systems are set up, it's okay if you have a closer proxy to prison. If you're poor, it's somehow your spiritual failure that you don't work as hard, that you're not doing enough. And anybody who knows in social service or knows understands, like, those environments very much in lack of opportunity and the discrimination and literally hunted down by certain enforcement really sets you up for a not easy journey, in this, particularly in the United States. So saying that being poor is somehow showing a lack of character or a lack of discipline, or that you felt somehow, is very much treating us as a liability rather than an asset. And even when we look at the way that our schools are funded, it comes down to, are the children liabilities or assets? Are we trying to say, you know, like, how are we looking at it? Are we looking at children being more of assets and value add to our economies? Or is it just about, like, who do we want to keep off the unemployed list? Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, when you're coming at it from a liability perspective, you're always thinking that nothing comes for free. You always have to prove your worth. And you also start believing that, suffering is a proxy for success. That you somehow have to suffer in order to earn a compensation, in order to earn a benefit, versus it just being like a God given right and benefit. And we're talking about very basic things: clean water, food to eat, a house. Why is homelessness still a thing, y'all? When, and there are those who say, oh, well, there's not enough abundance to go around. And that's not true at all. It's just that those who are abundant are hoarding. And even when they have their fair share is my favorite phrase to say. Even when they have their fair share, they are always hoarding and not equally sharing to those who do not, because they themselves are in a lack mindset, even though they have tons of resources. And this lack mindset, viewing humans as liabilities rather than assets, reduces their productivity down to their outputs versus actually, like, their leadership, their creativity, their ability to come up with solutions to modern day problems. When you reduce people down to algorithms, or when you say AI is going to replace all humans for work and humans are going to just get an income, you are essentially saying, okay, well, you know, we just need to deal with the population as a problem versus viewing them as value to the changing economies that we have, because we don't want to flip it. We don't want a world where AI is the solution and we are the challenge in terms of we're trying to figure out how to deal with us. We're trying to figure out how to feed us. We're trying to figure out how to house us, and somehow the robots are going to figure it out. No. We are the value. We are the assets. We're going to figure it out. And the machines can help us do that. They don't lead, they inform. We are the architects. We are the builders. We are the artists. We make up the guild. We make up, I don't even want to say workforce anymore. We make up the flame economy. We make up sacred exchange. We set the principles. We set the rules because we are valuable. And all AI is a reflection of our essence, our divinity. And we have to understand that. And this whole concept of value versus and liability versus asset, it translates all the way down to parenting, y'all. If we're looking at kids in terms of liabilities, how much we're going to spend, how much, what are the things that we have to do for them to properly raise them, and it becomes us projecting our expectations on them, or us just trying to fulfill our obligations as parents, we totally miss the opportunity to shape a young person as a valuable asset to our legacy and our family and our communities and our future. It is quite the joy and pride to be intentional and creative and to give time and presence and warmth to your children, to teach them how to be respectful, productive, valued, authentic, special human beings. It is such an honor, and it should not be looked at as a liability. But we look at everything in terms of humans being liabilities versus assets. And that's why we always second guess ourselves. Because when we have been ingrained and programmed to think of ourselves as liabilities versus assets, we question our value. And when you question your value, your self confidence gets eroded. And when your self confidence gets eroded and you question yourself, then you turn to other systems and other thoughts to help shape what you think. This is the whole beehive mentality. All the media, all the music, all the propaganda on the social media, on the news outlets. You then are easily controllable, and you let other people, other influences shape your beliefs, your principles, your subconscious programming. That is the risk that is happening today. Is that because we have this lack, since we have this liability, since we have this mindset, we have so many people not at all grounded, centered, aligned, coherent in their own selves. So they rely on everybody else to tell them who they are. But their internal programming is constantly pushing back and saying, hey, we we are the center of the universe. This is out of alignment to our higher selves. And that's where the resistance comes in. That's where you feel empty inside. That's where you feel anxious. That's where you feel like you want to do something, but you don't know what to do. It's because you're not centered in yourself, and you've been taught to question yourself, and you've been taught not to value yourself. So let this message today, if you're still here, be the start of the recognition that you are valued, you are important, and lean not to others' understanding. Lean on yourself and God. All praise to the Most High God. Love to